A reading from the book of Job. Job again took up his discourse and said, "Oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone over my head, and by his light I walked through darkness, when I was in my prime, when the friendship of God was upon my tent, when the Almighty was still with me, when my children were around me, when my steps were washed with milk, and the rock poured out for me streams of oil, when I went out to the gate of the city, when I took my seat in the square, the young men saw me and withdrew, and the aged rose up and stood. The nobles refrained from talking, and laid their hands on their mouths. The voices of princes were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths. When the ear heard, it commended me, and when the eye saw, it approved. Because I delivered the poor who cried, and the orphan who had no helper. The blessing of the wretched came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was a father to the needy, and I championed the cause of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the unrighteous and made them drop their prey from their teeth. Then I thought, I shall die in my nest, and I shall multiply my days like the phoenix. My roots spread out to the waters, with the dew all night on my branches. My glory was fresh with me, and my bow ever new in my hand. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So in this lesson from Job, Job looks back on that golden age when he was prosperous and everybody listened to him and he had great prestige and he had so much that he could help the poor and, oh, look, God, all those wonderful things I could do for you. Wasn't that great when I could do all those wonderful things for you? And there is a human temptation to kind of look back, especially when we are in a time of trial and suffering, to look back and wish for that past. And indeed, we have that in the Exodus journey where the Israelites look back at those wonderful cucumbers and leeks and melons of Egypt and all the fish that jumped out of the river basically into their baskets. And oh, wasn't that great when we were enslaved but just eating so well. We all have a tendency to kind of look back to some sort of golden age and want God to kind of restore that or give that back to us. Instead, God calls us into a future. And the problem with the future is that it's unknown to us. We have to trust God with it, as opposed to the past, where we know exactly what the past was all about, and we know exactly what we would have done differently, and all the good things. We can enumerate all the blessings in our past, but we have to trust God to give blessings in our future. But as a people of God, we have to trust. Part of having faith is trusting God precisely to bring us into a future in which we will be blessed and in which we can be faithful to God. And ultimately, what God wants from us is simply to love and to give him our lives, not to be prestigious or to have people listen to us or to be able to do all these great things for all the people who need us. We need God, right? More than other people need us. We need God. And in a sense, that's what God wants from us. And from that place, from that foundation of trust in God's future, we can build a life. Job, in a sense, is struggling. He's struggling. And it's a struggle that we all have. And in the light of Jesus, we are called to trust our lives to God and trust that he will raise them up in a new place of joy and peace.